Perfect.
All right. Well, it's very nice to meet all of you virtually. My name is Carol Rabke, and I am with the Department of Energy Office of SBIR and STTR programs. And I have been here since July of 2021. I joined after spending 20 years in the SBIR and STTR community um, as a commercialization support provider. So even though I haven't been at DOE that long, I have been in this community since 2000. So I have been around for quite a while. So have a lot of ideas about how to help small businesses, which is why I was hired by DOE in this position. I am primarily focused on partnering, so helping our awardees go from, concept in phase one, prototype in phase two, but then helping them figure out what partners are needed along the way to actually get the technology out to the market. And we're going to spend some time talking about that in a little bit. But I'm happy to be here. Here's my email. If any questions once you get into maybe applying to DOE or just questions about SBIR and STTR, I'm happy to answer them. So please feel free to reach out to me at any time. So just because I wasn't sure about everyone's background knowledge on SBIR and STTR, I'm going to just start here just quickly. So SBIR is Small Business Innovation Research and STTR is Small Business Technology Transfer. It usually involves a university or a national lab, that type of thing for an STTR. So SBIR and STTR funding provides early stage non-dilutive R&D funding. So typically it's too high risk for the private sector. That's why they don't want to get involved. But the key points here are that it has to be a U.S. small business, so all the R&D has to be done in the U.S. It doesn't prevent you from collaborating outside of the U.S., but have to do all the R&D here. It has to be an innovative idea and there has to be commercial potential because we're using taxpayer dollars and Congress wants to see return on investment. So I've just tried to show it here thematically, but we're going from an idea out to the real world. And what is SBIR and STTR funding? Well, it's basically a tax, I'll say, that gets put on the extramural R&D budgets. So if we think about them having about 100 billion per year in terms of all the federal agencies doing R&D, uh, SBIR and
Um,
yes, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. We had a few people comment they are not hearing you well.
Oh,
I can hear you well, but I don't, it seems like other people maybe can't. I don't know if,
hmm.
I'm fine here and where I am.
It
Okay.
seems like she's cutting out, like her connection isn't good. So I'm wondering, Carol, maybe if you turn off your camera but leave your screen share, maybe that'll give you enough bandwidth. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I will do that.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know. I don't have anything saying my internet is unstable, so but keep me posted. So I was saying that it's $100 billion per year and it's a tax of about 4%. So that is the money that is filtered out to all of the federal agencies. So just a quick slide, 3.2% is for SBIR. There's 11 agencies, and then 0.45 is for STTR, and there are 6 agencies that participate in that program. Program goals, well, they wanted to keep the US at the forefront of innovation. So it's for research and development needs. They wanted to increase the private sector commercialization of innovation, stimulate technological innovation. And then the last two, foster and encourage participation in innovation and entrepreneurship by women and socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. DOE spends a lot of time and effort trying to work on that goal specifically. And then for STTR, it's to foster technology transfer. So to get that technology out of an research institute and into the hands of the public. So what does it look like to be an SBIR and STTR firm? You have to be for profit. You have to be US owned and operated. So greater than 51% has to be a US citizen or permanent resident. And you have to be under 500 employees. As I mentioned before, all the work has to be done in the US, and the focus is on performing R&D. So it's not to purchase equipment. It's not really to take a technology that's already been developed or one that needs very low risk and that is very low risk and only needs capital. It's really to be on the cutting edge. And the PI must be primarily employed by the SBIR and STTR firm at the time of award. It's at the time of award because often a small business doesn't know if they might not be able to hire that person if they don't win the award. So you can put in an application and have resumes of people that are going to participate, but they just have to be in place by the time of award. So this is taking a look at the different agencies that participate, and it is color coded so that green are granting agencies and blue are contracts. And so there are significant differences between agencies that give grants versus those that give contracts. With a contract, you really have to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. So the majority of that is with DoD. So DOE is the third largest, and you can see the programs here that have SBIR and STTR programs, as well as the ones that have only SBIR programs. And again, it's about 4.4 billion in FY22, and over 7,000 awards are made annually. So I did lead into this a little bit, that there are differences between grants versus contracts. And a big difference with the grants are that you really have to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. Where with a grant, let's say you win an award from DOE, you start working on your phase 1 and you figure out, it's not really going to work the way we said it's going to work. You can work with your program manager to make some tweaks in terms of what you said you're going to do. So you have more freedom to operate within a grant than you do a contract. Focus topics. So DoD has very focused topics, and they are always going to be their customer. Versus broad topic areas. NSF has very broad topic areas. In fact, I think they're one of the broadest. DOE has focused topics, but as I'm going to show you, they're broader than most people think. Like, we do a lot of things besides energy. So I'm going to show you some of those coming up. They also vary in application processes, systems, deadlines, all of that is different. And I should also just comment that DOE could be your customer, but I would say it's going to be like very limited. So probably less than 10% of our topics are going to be actually something that is used within DOE. I give you a link here to some tutorials that were put together by SBA. I know that they are in the process of transitioning to a new website, so I give you a link that is to their legacy website because I'm not sure where the tutorials are going on the new site. So I checked it before I stuck it in here, it's still working. So let's focus and narrow in now on DOE. What are some of the specifics? So historically, we award in excess of 300 million per year. Again, it's grants, not contracts. So tried to capture it here just as a reminder for you. It's your idea and your execution. There are 13 program offices that participate, and all the topics have to align with our DOE mission, which I have put in the graphic on the right-hand side. So we have basic energy and engineering sciences. That's part of our mission. Clean energy, of course. And then most people don't know, but nuclear security falls under DOE. Not just the power plants that you would think of, but also any of the munitions, the naval submarines, all of that falls under that division of DOE. We do 2 phase 1 solicitations per year. We have one that gets released in July and one that gets released in November. So our November solicitation is open right now. I'm going to show you how to search the topics and what to do with some of the information in a moment. One thing to keep in mind, letters of intent are required for DOE. So you have to submit that letter of intent. Basically, it's just 500 words telling us what you're going to do and why you think that what you're proposing is responsive to that topic. And 2 reasons we do that. One, it allows us to start getting the review panels lined up ahead of time. And 2, it also gives a chance for the topic manager to review it and provide feedback. Now, if you were to get something that said you were non-responsive, that does not mean that you cannot apply. You can definitely still apply, but what it does mean is that you should think about how you're presenting your application and the proposal of what you're going to do. Because if the topic manager didn't think that it was responsive, the reviewers might not think that as well. But if you really believe it is, just think about how you are presenting it. And we also offer a phase 0 program. So this is free and it opens once the topics come out. So it is open right now and you can apply, give you the link here. And it really is designed to help first time applicants just through the process the first time. So they will review your proposal, they'll help you with budgeting, they'll provide you with a little bit of market research, they'll work with you on your commercialization plan. So it's free. I always tell everyone I don't see any reason you wouldn't apply if to participate in this free program if you are new. So these are the program offices that participate. Release 1 is more of our basic energy sciences, and that one typically opens in July, early July, and it is closed now. All the applications were due on October 8th. Release 2 has is opened at the beginning of November. So November 12th, the topics were released and the applications are not due until February 26th. And that is our applied program. So you can see the different program offices that participate in that topic release. And you still have ample time if you're interested in, or you have technology in one of these focus areas. So there's a lot of time still to get that application together. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but what I really wanted to show you is that, yes, we have 3 core areas in our mission, but if you dig down into them, we cover so much more than just energy. We, of course, do the advanced materials and technologies for nuclear energy, but we have a lot of smart grid and cybersecurity applications. We work on advanced manufacturing processes, advanced sources, data acquisition, processing, and analysis. That's another big piece. Sensors, just a lot of different areas that you wouldn't necessarily think of when you think of DOE. So how does DOE funding work? We have phase 1, which is 6 to 12 months duration. I would say that most people put in an application that is about 9 months duration because you are going to have to submit your phase 2 proposal 9 months in. 2 annual funding opportunity announcements. I need to change that. They are no longer called that. They're called NOFOs. So a notice of funding opportunity is what they have changed it to. They are range from 200,000 to 250,000, and I'm going to show you where you find that information in the topic document. We award about 400 awards per year, and so we typically have about a 20% award rate from the number of applications that we get. I think last year it was a little bit lower. We were more around 17%. Phase 2 would be the next step. So if your phase 1 proved successful, then you would want to apply for phase 2. And you have to apply in the round that you start. So if you applied to phase 1 release 2, then you would apply to phase 2 release 2 the following 9 months. And it is 1.1 to 1.6 million in duration, 2 years, and we make about 160 awards per year. Now, because we know that deep tech, which is what we are primarily funding, takes quite a while to get to the market and to complete development, you'll see that you can actually get funding from DOE for up to 8 years. So we have sequential phase 2s. So after you do your phase 2, you have the option of applying for a phase 2A or phase 2B. A phase 2A just means that you haven't finished the development, so you need to do additional R&D. Phase 2B, the way I like to think of it, is business for B. And that just means that you have someone, a stakeholder that's very interested in your technology, but they need a different type of feature, they need better specs, they need something else that requires additional R&D. And then phase 2C, that is really where you do have someone that is interested in maybe doing a beta test with you or joint development, but it requires one-to-one matching funds. And all of those phase 2s that I speak to are 2 years in duration, and the original phase 2 can be 1.1 to 1.6, but then the A, B, or C are typically just 1.1 million. So I wanted to give you a little bit of information about phase 1 release 2 because that is what is open right now. So as I mentioned, the topics came out on November 12th. The topic document you can download right here. I mentioned the phase 0 application assistance program. So really apply for that if you, and by applying it basically means it's first come first serve. So there is a small application that you have to fill out, but it's basically just making sure that you have a topic picked out, a subtopic, and that you have a team that can do the research, or you at least have part of a team that can do the research and you're looking for the additional team members. Once you download that topic document, and I showed where you can find the link down here. Once you download that, I'm going to show you how you can search the document to try to find topics of interest. And once you find that topic, we did hold webinars on the topics where the topic managers will talk about each topic, and then they also will answer questions, and the slides are available. So I would just really recommend that you review the topic webinar slides for any that were of interest to you. The FOA is going to come out on December 16th. That is, again, these are all switching to NOFOs, but basically it's the funding opportunity announcement. And once that document is released, that has all the specifications in it. So the topics document told you about all the different topics. Now the NOFO is going to come out and it is going to give you all the details of the specifications. And we do hold webinars for that. So we will go through the NOFO, talk about any specifications that have changed on the 19th, and you can register for that if you go to the website. What you would want to do at this point is register for our mail list. And if you get on the mail list, then you will automatically get an announcement once that NOFO posts. And then we have a Q&A session the next day where you can get any questions answered. I mentioned letters of intent are required. So they are due on January 7th. So again, you have quite a bit of time to try to think about whether or not you can find a topic and whether or not you can put an application together. You do get those non-responsive feedback, and it doesn't mean you can't apply. Just take into consideration that they didn't really understand how what you were proposing was responsive to the topic. And then full applications would be due on February 26th. And I wanted to give you a slide that just talks about what the Phase Zero application program provides. So I did mention that it's first come, first serve. All first time participants are eligible. It doesn't mean it has to be the first time for the company. It means it has to be the first time for that particular PI that is putting together the proposal. The portal is open now, and on the right-hand side, I show you the core services. So you would get help with your letter of intent. You would get help with all of your registrations, SAMs and grants.gov, PAMS, that is the portal that DOE uses. So they would help you with all of that. They help you with the proposal preparation. They will not write it for you, but they will review it. They'll help you with the budget, that type of thing. Market research, you get a very small amount of market research just to help you sort out the market opportunity, because you do have to put together a 4-page commercialization plan when you put together your application. And then they will review the final document again before you submit it. There are some optional services that you can also pick as well. And when it says travel assistance, that means that perhaps you are working with a university. So maybe it's to go and visit that group there. They also provide an overview of the IP landscape. So there's a lot of different services that you can pick. All right, I guess I'm just going to stop and ask if there are any questions on that so far. No. Okay, and I will keep going. All right, so now we're going to talk about, are you a fit for DOE? So the Phase 1 Release 2 solicitation is open now, and here is a link to it. We talked about the eligibility, but again, just have to be for profit, US owned and operated, less than 500 employees. The work has to be done in the US. The focus is on performing R&D, and the PI must be primarily employed by the firm at time of award. And we did cover this as well. The STTR requires a nonprofit research institute partner. And the PI can be either part of the small business or the research institute, but the award, the funds, always go to the small business. And if you have any questions about eligibility, I did provide a link there at the bottom. So what makes a good fit with DOE, SBIR, and STTR? Here I am showing you the application review criteria and just wanted to talk through it. The peer plan, which is a new addition in FY24. So all of our applications required a peer plan be put in with the application. It's small, it's less than 3 pages. It goes into your narrative application, but it does not count towards the page count. And basically, it is to promote equity and inclusion in research. There is a webinar, and I've given you a link where it talks about different things to include on it. But it is a smaller portion of the review criteria. The top 3 still are the largest and carry the most weight. And then the most meritorious applications are awarded. So under technical merit, they are going to look to make sure the idea is novel, that it is R&D, and that it is responsive to the topic and subtopic. Under the ability to carry out the project, they're going to look at the team. So they're going to see if the team is composed of the right expertise, and do you have a solid work plan to prove the feasibility. And then under impact, that is where we look at any societal or scientific impact, and that is also where your commercial opportunity is reviewed. So your commercialization plan is reviewed there. So how do you go about figuring out if you're a good fit for DOE? This is the way I used to search when I was helping small businesses. So I would sit down with a company and I would say, okay, brainstorm 5 to 10 keywords that represent your area of expertise, your technology, or your innovation. And then let's just run through it and see what we find. So I give you the link to the topics here. If you download it, then you can search it. I'm also going to tell you in a few minutes about a partnering platform that I have that I worked to put in place. It came online a little over a year ago, and you can search using keywords online using that platform. But if you were to just download the document, you can search this way. I put in geothermal, I found 60 hits. And so then I would just go through and read through the different topics and see if it actually was a fit for the technology that I work on. What else can you see when you look at the topic? So I mentioned that it was going to tell you the award amount. So here you can see the maximum phase 1 award amount and the maximum phase 2 award amount. It also tells you if they are accepting SBIR applications and if they're accepting STTR. All of them, knock on wood, but pretty much I have never seen one that wasn't SBIR. So all of them should say yes, they're accepting SBIR, but there are some of them that don't accept STTR. And then some of our program offices also offer fast track applications. A fast track means that you are going to submit one proposal for a phase 1 and a phase 2 all at one time. And so this particular topic is just saying that they are not accepting fast track. You want to read the topic carefully. You want to look through everything that they're saying here. As I mentioned, you want to watch the topic webinar recordings. You are able to talk to the topic authors. So unlike with DoD, where there is a cutoff time and after that you can't engage with them, you are allowed to engage with the DOE program managers throughout the entire process. And I did just want to mention that if you match both SBIR and STTR criteria, you can apply to both. Let's say that this was offering both an SBIR and an STTR. You could apply to both because they're two different pots of money. Of course, you couldn't accept both of them if they were identical. You would have to make a choice if you were awarded both of them. But that's just another way to maybe get two in there. To see if you have better luck with SBIR versus STTR or vice versa. Subtopics. So when you provide a response to your to the topic, you need to be responsive to both the topic and the subtopic. So you want to make sure that you really pay attention to not just the top where it's talking about the topic in general, but about the subtopic as well. So really read carefully the subtopic. I did just mention that open communication is permitted. So in most cases, when you look at the topic, they will give you some points of contact below it, and you are open to reach out to them. Definitely recommend reading the references because often there's a lot of really good information in there, either about what they consider state of the art. There's also roadmaps that might be in there as well. So definitely check out the references. And then because many of our topics are on technologies that are not going to come to the commercial market for some time. And if you remember, I told you that one of the stipulations with the SBIR and STTR funding is that it has to result in return on investment. So the program offices actually do market research studies and they post those studies. So it will talk about the commercial potential of of different types of technologies. So I really recommend that you check out those that page as well, our market studies page, particularly if you're working on a technology that is emerging. Because yes, if you're working on a technology that's already been out there, it's established, you can find a lot of market research. But if it's emerging, it's much more complicated. And I would invite you to check out the program office website. You know, if we looked at this subtopic, it's a subtopic from EERE. And so I would recommend, and this one is talking about EV battery recycling, you know, so go and check out the Vehicle Technologies Office, see what they are talking about, so that you really understand their mission. And you can find all of the different program offices. They each have a page. You can look at their mission. You can look at other funding opportunities, because keep in mind, SBIR is a really small percentage of their overall budget. I think we looked at it, it's about 4%. They have reports that they publish. They'll have workshops and conference proceedings. They'll also have points of contact. So once you figure out what topic you're going to go after, look and see what program office is sponsoring it, and then go and look and check out these things so that you can write an application that, you know, maybe you want to include a statement about their mission and how the technology you're working on falls back and supports their overall mission. But what if you can't find an applicable topic? So a couple of things here. Since we just have our release 2 open now, maybe you're saying, yeah, but I'm more basic energy. You can go back and look at our closed topics. So you could look at release 1 from earlier this year. You could do the same thing where you're going to you're going to search for keywords, and maybe you find a topic. Ah, that would have been perfect for me. Then look and see the point of contact, reach out to them, see if they have other projects that are non SBIR, but maybe they have other projects that you could find funding for. So that's something you can do even if you don't find one in this particular release 2. Go back and look at last year's release 2 or 2 years ago. I would say don't go back more than 3 years, but most of them will have a point of contact and you can reach out to them and check out the references also in these previous topic releases. You can find roadmaps. They might mention other programs, other funding opportunities. And then if you're trying to figure out if you're the right fit for a particular program office, let's say you found one from FY24 and you found the great topic, you can go and see who won that award. So you can check out the awardees and you can see how well you match up against them. You can also see what they proposed in terms of an abstract. You can't see the proposal. But those are things that I might recommend if you don't find an applicable topic right now. And then you can check out other agencies. This is a live link that I give you so you can go back and look at the individual agency requirements. But as I mentioned, NSF has one of the broadest technology focus areas. Basically, if there is a technology out there and they have like, I don't know, I want to say like 20 different technology areas. So, and they don't have a specific solicitation. So you can go there, you can look, you can find a topic area. If you click on their website and go to that particular topic area, it will tell you the program managers. There's ways to contact them directly with their email addresses. NSF has a unique process where you have to put together a pitch. So they ask you to put together a project pitch and you submit that to them, and then they tell you whether or not they think you should put together the full proposal. So I recommend you checking out NSF as well. And then I did mention this. So if you can't find an applicable topic, and even if you can find one, I still would recommend that you register for the SBIR partnering platform. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, but basically it's sbirpartnering.org. There are 2 agencies on it. DOE I started the platform, and then since then NIH's National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute has joined. So if you join on the platform, you'll have access to both institutes there, or the DOE as well as the institute. But you would join as an innovator um, on the platform because you are a startup and you are working on R&D. Commercialization is significant. I mentioned what the review criteria are. Commercialization is going to be reviewed under impact. It is a statutory goal of the SBIR and STTR programs. Congress wants return on investment of these taxpayer dollars. And actually, as an agency, all of the agencies that participate, we're required to evaluate the commercial potential, and we actually have to report that back to Congress annually. We evaluate under the impact criteria. And so I just really want to make sure that you understand the significance of your commercialization plan. And there's also something called a company commercialization report. That is, once you have received a phase 2 award, you have to start putting that together as well. So DOE recognizes that commercialization is hard. And so we have been working to put together a lot of commercialization resources for you. So we have the application support that I mentioned in phase 0. And then throughout the course of your engagement with DOE, there are 3 things that you don't even have to be an awardee to participate in. So the SBIR partnering platform, you can join at any time. There are about 500 partners on there, and there are about 400 and some innovators. So there's a lot of activity on the platform. So I invite you to check that out. I mentioned the Program Office commissioned market research reports. And then I also host virtual commercialization workshops. These are quarterly, and anybody is welcome to participate in them. And we cover topics that are typical areas of weaknesses for small businesses. Phase Shift 1 and then Phase Shift 2, those are programs that are available to our awardees. And if you've ever heard of the I-Core programs that NSF runs, this is our version of I-Core. So Phase Shift 1 is all about customer discovery, and then Phase Shift 2 in Phase 2 takes it a deeper dive on that business model canvas. We have a PI meeting for our phase 1 awardees, and then TABA, which is technical and business assistance, is available in phase 1 as well as phase 2. And then for our phase 2 awardees, I also organize and moderate a virtual partner pitch program. So if you get a phase 2 award from DOE, you are eligible to participate in that program as well. So I mentioned the commercialization training and support for our awardees. TABA funds for DOE, those are over and above your actual award amount. So if you were applying for a $200,000 phase 1, you could get over and above an additional $6,500 for help with commercialization. So we do have a vendor that we use in phase 1. So you're welcome to use that DOE vendor, or you can bring your own third-party vendor. When you get into phase 2, it increases to 50,000. So that's a lot more money to do something with, and you can use it for patents. That's what a lot of people use it for. But you must use a third-party vendor. We don't have a vendor for phase 2. I mentioned Phase Shift 1, Phase Shift 2. I mentioned the commercialization workshops. I give you a link here, and you can go and visit it, where I have all the recordings from all of the workshops that I've held to date. They are also on the resource page on the partnering platform. I mentioned the virtual partner pitch program, and then the partnering platform. That's kind of like my baby. So it is a public-facing, self-supporting, searchable database. Basically, the idea behind it is to help innovators find partners. This is a list of all of the commercialization workshops that we have held, and you can go there and you can look at the recordings, and you can also, most of them have the slides posted as well. And the partnering platform. So as I mentioned, this is a searchable database. You can find partners, but then you can also network with other innovators. So let's say you need additional people to complete your team. You can use the community page. So you can post something on the community page and try to find the right person. You can use keyword and AI searching, a bunch of different filters to find partners. You can search for SBIR and STTR, I should say, funding opportunities across all agencies. So anything that is open at this time would be able to be searchable there. Partners can also post about different opportunities on the community page. There's a news feed. We have the resource pages. You would join as an innovator. And I did mention that NIH recently joined as well. So what can you find? This is once you registered, this is how you would go in. This would be what your dashboard looks like. So you can search for partners or funding. Let's say you were looking for someone who could provide you with TABA services. So you could select provider and then commercialization services, and it would help you find someone that could do that. If you find a partner, let's say that you were looking for someone who might have some venture funding for you, you can use instant message by hitting the view details, and then you would hit view partners, and you are able to instant message with them directly on the system. As I mentioned, you can network with other innovators. So you can post whether you're looking for a mentor, a subject matter expert, looking to collaborate. You can post other, and then pretty much post about anything. The resource pages, you can find information about the national labs, including SBIR contacts. And I will also say, even though it's not a DOE national lab, the International Space Station just joined as a national lab because it is a national lab. It's NASA side of things, but they are listed here as well. Then the commercialization tutorials I mentioned, they are all here as well. And this is going to be exciting, should be coming in the new year. We are adding a new market research tool. And so that's going to allow you to find out different information about your market by just using the system here. Relevant news, you can find news feeds and you can bookmark. If you don't have time to look at it now, you can come back and look at it. Other partnering resources. So why do I harp on partnering? I harp on partnering because you are gonna need a partner. If you're gonna bring your technology to market, you are gonna need either additional funding, or you are gonna need an established player to do joint development or license to. So you really do need that partner. And I will say that NSF did a study, and they found that someone who has an established partner early in product development is 50% more likely to successfully commercialize the technology. So those are all the reasons to have partners. But I wanted to provide you with some additional resources here. So if you're looking for subject matter experts, facilities, collaborators at the national labs, they do have a site called labpartnering.org. It is just related to the DOE national labs, but you can go on there and you can search and you can find a lot of different people. You can't connect with them directly, but you can send an email to them through the system. Another way to find these folks is to review related research being done at research institutes. You can check publications, then you can find the authors. Just as a reminder, the R&D has to be done in the US, but it doesn't mean you can't collaborate with folks outside of the US. If you are looking for facilities for testing, the national labs have different types of facilities, and I've given you links to the Energy Systems Integration Facility at NREL, the Grid Research Integration and Deployment Center at Oak Ridge, and then Idaho National Lab has an electric grid test bed. I wanted to also mention the American Made Challenges. That is something that is hosted by NREL and funded, I would say, largely through EERE, through the program office. And they give out prizes. So they're not going to be as large as an SBIR. I think they're typically in the $10,000 range. But they, if you're just looking for a little extra money to test something out, that might be an option for you. Then if you are a new graduate and you have a nice idea and you're coming out of a grad lab and you want to go and see if you can turn it into a business, you might check out the lab embedded entrepreneurship programs. They are offered at NREL, Oak Ridge, Lawrence Berkeley, and Argonne. And then also Sandia and Los Alamos have their own program. They call it the New Mexico Leap. But that actually allows you to be located within that particular national lab for 2 years. They provide you with a salary. They provide you with business help. They provide you with health care. They provide you with all the benefits. So it's a really great program. Plus, you have access to all the scientists that are there as well. And then the Office of Tech Transfer and the Office of Clean Energy Demonstration and EERE have teamed together to provide a voucher program. And so that is another way that you can apply to use funds for test and certification or to take the next steps with manufacturing. So a lot of different programming resources here at DOE. And I'm running out of time, I think, so I'm just going to finish up here. So these are the important things I wanted to recap quickly. So again, I mentioned we've got phase 1, release 2 open now. Use the phase 0 program, watch the webinars, register for the NOFO webinar on the 19th and the 20th, get your letters of intent in, and then make sure you get your full application in. And then the application assistance. I mean, the biggest thing here that we want to leave with you is that we are here to help you be successful. So you can ask general questions by email. You can subscribe to our mailing list. That is really, I would recommend that you do that. That is the way that you will get all kinds of information all the time about funding opportunities, about, when I do a commercialization workshop, I send out a notice through that. Look at the recorded topic and NOFO webinars. We're going to have to spend a lot of time updating all of this FOA to NOFO. And then we also do Ask Us Anything webinars. So if you submit that letter of intent, you will be on a different mail list that gets you invited to all these Ask Us Anything webinars. Keep in mind the review criteria. Make sure you are aware of the peer plan. That is a new piece that's being required. Make sure you pay attention to the commercialization resources. Take advantage of these that anybody in the public can participate in. And I'll open the floor for questions. Here's my contact information. There are 2 Tech to Market advisors. As I mentioned, I joined in July of 2021 after coming out of the SBIR and STTR community. My colleague Dave McCarthy joined in FY22, and he came out of academia, and he runs all of our commercialization programming. So he is responsible for TABA and for the phase shift programming. And then Eileen Chant is our outreach program manager. And so if you have application questions, she's really the person to reach out to as well. But any of us can answer questions, and we're happy to do that. And one shameless plug for the partnering platform again. So please, I invite you to join that. And then I put at the back of my slide deck, just because I know you're going to get this, I put in a couple of slides just on differences between SBIR and STTR. All right, I think I'm done, and I think we have time for questions. I will stop sharing, and happy to answer any questions. maybe there are no questions. All right. Well, then I just invite you guys to reach out to me if you get into it and you do have questions. But thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you today.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank
This
you,
is really
Carol.
Thank you. It was great. So informative.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, take care, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
good.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.